Yes, please.
Resolve the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for conditional use 35/2021.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Bezrel, seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now, I should have mentioned before we pass that resolution, our planner, Santan Singh, is on Zoom with us this evening. So with that, I will ask him to give us the information on conditional use number 35 of 2021. Go ahead, Santan.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, Council. So this is conditional use amended application CU 35/2021. The subject properties are located at 93 and 95 Grand Beach Road, and the applicant wishes to allow a mobile food truck trailer on subject properties in the commercial recreation zone. This is the location map. As you can see, the proposal involves both the properties. 93 Grand Beach has an existing house, whereas 95 Grand Beach is currently vacant. This is the site plan. Each property is about 6,000 square feet and have frontage on Grand Beach Road. These are the three images of the mobile truck that has been submitted by the applicant. This application was presented to the council in December hearing, where only the property on 93 Grand Beach was presented. It was realized at that hearing that the applicant needed to amend the application and reapply with both the properties. The amended application was recirculated to different departments for comments. We did not receive any objections. If the council wishes to approve this conditional use, Red River Planning recommends 4 conditions. Number 1, that conditional use approval be limited to allow food truck use as proposed within this application. Any further changes or additions to this use may require new conditional use approval. Number 2, the applicant owner to obtain an annual business license from the RMO St. Clement. And number 3, the applicant owner to obtain year-round insurance from Manitoba Public Insurance for the food truck as proposed in this application. And number 4, the conditional use is limited from May 1st to October 31st each calendar year, with hours of operation from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday to Saturday. And the number of employees for this use during the operation period is limited to a maximum of 4. If the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you for that, Santan. Members of council, do you have any questions for the planner at this point in time? Okay, is the applicant in the audience this evening?
Yes.
Do you have anything that you would like to add to your application this evening?
No, that has been very good so far.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from council members to the applicant? I know that there are a lot of people in the audience this evening, and I think probably the majority are not here for this application, but I will ask if there is anybody else in the audience that wishes to speak on this application. Hearing and seeing no one raise their hand, is council ready to deal with this application?
Yes.
Okay, what we need to do then is have a resolution to close the public hearing on conditional use 35 of 2021, please.
Resolve the public hearing for conditional use 35/2021 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Boulanger seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. It appears that council is ready to deal with this application this evening, so I will ask for a resolution for this conditional use application, please.
Just open. The system is still slow for her as well.
Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll 762800 and 762850, a property legally described as Lot 2 and 3, Block 2, Plan 3161, and located at 93 and 95 Grand Beach Road, has been made application for conditional use 35/2021 in order to allow a mobile food truck trailer use on the subject properties in the commercial recreation zone. Therefore, be it resolved, conditional use application number 35/2021 be approved with the following 2 conditions. 1, That conditional use approval be limited to allow food truck trailer use as proposed within this application. Any further changes or additions to this use may require a new conditional use approval. 2, applicant owner to obtain year-round insurance from Manitoba Public Insurance for the food truck trailer as proposed in this application. 3, applicant owner to obtain an annual business license for the Arm St. Clements. 4, the conditional use is limited from May 1st to October 1st each calendar year, with hours of operation from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., Sunday to Saturday. The number of employees for this use during the operation period is limited to a maximum of 4 employees. Approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horwath, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any further discussion on this application? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Just checking the date, was that October 1st or 31st in the resolution?
October 31st.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? I have a mover, I have a seconder. If there are no further questions, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, the next application we have this evening is conditional use. Conditional use number 4 of 2022. And before I ask the planner to take us through that one, I would just like to let everybody know that for this public hearing this evening, I would ask that everyone be respectful of each other, and everyone will have an opportunity to speak. And as there are a number of presenters, we would ask that you try to limit your comments to 10 to 12 minutes. If your comments have been said, please advise already heard in order to move along a little more quickly. So I'm not going to stop anybody from speaking, but we would like to kind of move this along. So if you could try and limit the time that you speak, that would be great. And please be respectful of each other and of members of council. That is the most important thing for all of us sitting in this room this evening. So with that, I will ask for a resolution to move into our conditional use hearing for number 4 of 2022.
Resolve the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for conditional use 4 2022.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Horwath seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, with that, Santan, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and walk us through this conditional use application, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Share my screen. Okay, this is conditional use application for 2022. The subject property is located at Colville Road, and the applicant wishes to establish a multi-family residential development on the subject property in the suburban residential zone. This is the location map. As you can see, property fronts Colville Road, and there is an intersection in the east corner with Kidston Road, Quarry Road, and Colville Road. This is the proposed plan of multifamily development. The applicant wishes to establish multiple buildings accommodating multifamily development. As per the applicant, there would be 124 units in multiple buildings that are primarily duplexes. The detailed site plan is in the docket for council's consideration. This is the type of building proposed by the applicant. This building would accommodate 8-unit stacked townhouses. This is a 10-unit stacked townhouse proposed by the applicant. This application was circulated to various provincial departments which did not receive any objections. Red River Planning District advises the RM St. Clements to enter into a development agreement with the applicant to address design features, infrastructure, for example, sewer, water, waste pickup, access, connections to services, drainage, and any other services deemed necessary by the RM. The RM and the Red River Planning has received multiple objections to this proposal, which have been added to the agenda today for the council to consider. If the council wishes to approve this conditional use order, Red River Planning recommends 3 conditions. Number 1, the conditional use approval be limited to a multifamily development with 124 units. as proposed within this application. Any changes in use may require new conditional use approval. Number 2, the applicant owner to obtain all required permits, including but not limited to those from Red River Planning, the Arm of St. Clements, Manitoba Infrastructure, Manitoba Conservation and Climate, Environmental Compliance and Enforcement if required. Number 3, the applicant owner provide ability to the Arm of St. Clements Fire Department to access the property. Thank you. If the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you for that, Santan. Questions from members of council to the planner? Okay, is the applicant in the audience this evening?
Yes.
Do you have anything that you would like to add to your application at this point in time?
Nothing further than what's been stated. We could outline what our plans are for it. We've gone through this with council.
Well, I think with the people that we do have in the audience here, if you have not relayed that information to the residents of the area, I would suggest that perhaps this would be the time to do it.
Okay. Okay, we had sent out to the residents a brochure outlining our plans for the use of this property. We've worked with council and with the planner to develop the current plan that we have, the density and the quantity of units. Our multifamily component is on the north end of the property and consists of 28 units that are stacked townhouses. These are two-story units, so their height is within, well within the height of zoning restrictions for this property. We've provided parking that is in excess of what the minimum standard for parking of these units plus all the remaining units within the property. We have provided 2 access points to the entire property to handle traffic.
Mr. Mansky, if you could, what I'll do is I'll bring up the diagram that you're referring to so that everybody can see.
Sure. That diagram was also provided in the brochure we had given.
This one here, you're talking about?
That one there, yes. Okay, so in our plan, so we had provided 2 access roads from Colville in to the area, and we have planned for interconnectivity from that property to any future development that would happen to the east or the west of this property in consideration of the overall future plan for the development of the properties on that side of Colville. None of our units exceed anything more than 2 stories in height. For any of the units, these stacked townhomes are actually going to be shorter in height than any of the 2-story dwelling units that are across the street. That sums up what we've got for our plan for this area.
Okay, I'm going to ask members of council if they have any questions for you at this point in time. Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
Just 2 questions. When you sent out the brochure, did you get any replies or any responses from the ratepayers?
I got 1 response, and it was from a person that wanted to buy 1 of the units.
And that was it?
That was it.
Okay. The second question was, if this does go forward, would it be in phases? Would it be the whole?
It's planned to be all built at once.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from members of council? Go ahead, Councillor Corbis.
So none of these are rental units, these are all for purchase?
These are all rental units.
Oh, these are all rentals?
Yes. They're all rentals, which puts us into the affordable home category.
Okay, anything else from members of council? Okay, I'm going to thank you for right now, and we will have an opportunity at the end if you have anything that you want to add at that point in time, but we do have a number of people that wish to speak on the application, so I will start calling those people forward. Okay, and this is in no particular order, this is just the way that I have them on the sheet here, and the first one I have is Horst Welk. Do you have anything that you want to speak on right now, Mr. Welk?
Yes, well, you're not going to read what I submitted, or that's going to be?
Everybody, all of council got a copy of that in our meeting packages. Actually, we had two letters from yourself. There was the resident feedback one and then the opposition letter. And we all did get copies of those prior to today's meeting.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'll, on that basis there, I'll
Okay,
submit this document. So everybody knows I had also submitted to council what I had submitted back in 2015 after the original review and hearing on this subdivision across the road, including here in Reach. And I'll let that stand as written in their hands. I'll refer to it, but I won't read it. It seems like not so long ago we were given public feedback on Colwell East area. At the time, citizens of East Selkirk provided feedback which was to help establish policy guidelines for projects proposed and others that may be followed. As stated in subsequent study, preserving, in quotation marks, preserving the open semi-rural character of St. Clements by ensuring new developments are compatible with the density and design of existing neighborhoods was of utmost importance. This is still the case today, and I strongly support this sentiment. I provided feedback at that time, which are referred to, and I find these views are still valid today. They have been submitted and are on file with the RM. I am not against development of this and other properties in the village. This view has not changed over the years. What I am strongly against is an in-your-face proposal of the magnitude immediately adjacent to established homes in the village. If I might add, the picture of that subdivision, if you were to take that back and look at it from Google Earth and zoom in, you'd see how stark the contrast is to the adjacent community, which has a long-standing history here. This concept does not complement the country feel that residents here have built a life around while being invested in the existing community of East Selkirk. It does not embrace the values and character of East Selkirk community. As to the neighborhood character, this conditional use application does not follow a gradual step-down approach in lot sizes from adjacent existing properties along Colwell Road to smaller lots as you transition further from the established homeowners. This was the will of the community in 2015, and all the work done on this supports this thinking. Waycheck subdivision meets these criteria, in my view. This conditional use application is the exact opposite and is going backwards. It is the wrong solution for the proposed location. If anything, lots should be bigger than Waycheck. I'm not arguing that they should be, but that's logical. To support the step-down approach to enhance character of the established community that residents have invested their lives and supported. It would detract from existing properties to the west and would, in my opinion, reduce values and saleability. Current documentation, I'll refer to some of this. This is all from the RM St. Clements files supporting my arguments here. The East Selkirk secondary plan was enacted as part of bylaw 14-212. It already states specifically in section 1.1, the secondary plan hereby provides policies to provide land use strategies and design standards to appropriately locate development and maintain the village character of East Selkirk. Encourage new design concepts that embrace the values and character of the East Selkirk community. And by that I'm referring to the community. It's here already. Encourage new design concepts that embrace the, well, I just said that, sorry. Provide section 4.4.2.7. Provide a transition between areas of different development intensity and scale, in particular by providing appropriate setbacks and a stepping down of heights towards single-family areas. Emerging neighborhoods will expand based upon the logical extension of municipal services and relationships with existing built-up areas, which is what I'm part of. The public consultation report was adopted on October 13th of 2015 in council minutes. It already states, to the question, encourage new design concepts that embrace the values and character of East Selkirk community. The answer to that question? New subdivisions will have a range of single-family lot sizes, with the smallest lot not being less than 10,000 square feet. That's just a smidge under a quarter acre. The frontage width will be a width that supports the financial feasibility of including municipal service, water, and wastewater. This is logical. This minimum lot size is 1,500 square feet, larger than the lots at Oak Bank, and that was for reference at that time. For visualization, the lot dimensions are designed to be consistent with semi-rural village character of East Selkirk. And also on that same topic of neighborhood character, Resolution 2015-391 adopted in the same meeting included these comments. Quote, "The following will be considered for new development and subdivision proposals. Multifamily residential, if permitted, should be located and developed in a manner that minimizes potential negative impact, shadow casting expanses of blank walls, privacy, etc. on adjacent existing homes. Lot dimensions should incorporate a lot width that is appropriate to support the financial feasibility, including municipal services, piping, water, and wastewater." Logical. New subdivisions should incorporate a range of single-family lot sizes, with the smallest lot being no less than 10,890 feet. For reference, that is a quarter acre. Note, the standard cannot be met with this conditional use application as there are 124 units on 11 plus acres. Property is not owned, and it is assumed, I'm assuming, and I think some of the people here are assuming, that occupants will be renting or entering some sort of a condominium agreement. Can only speculate on that front. As to traffic and safety, the current issues with this roadway: narrow, no shoulders at all, very poor condition, especially along edges in the post-sewer and water project. Dangerous to walk on in all seasons, poor lighting, dangerous curvy transition from Polder Road to Kitson on the end of Quarry Road here. Lots of traffic at peak times, primarily focused in the Colville area. Adding 124 dwellings and an estimated, and this is just a reasonable estimate, of minimum 2 up to 400 or more residents, with 200 vehicles, also a conservative estimate to this location, will magnify the problem exponentially. Again, the absolute wrong solution for this location. I did not see a proactive solution contained in the conditional use to address this well-known issue. Currently, in the RM file supporting these arguments, the public consultation report was adopted on October 13th of 2015. Again, it states, based on public concern about traffic and pedestrian safety on Colville Road, Council has decided to postpone consideration of all new or proposed applications for development until a traffic study can be completed. My question here today, I have not seen evidence of that study. Where is it? 71% of the residents surveyed named during the survey conducted back at that time named this specific issue as very important: traffic safety along this roadway. No changes are apparent on this road today. And also supporting the point of traffic and safety, Resolution 2015-391, adopted in the same meeting again, it states, therefore, be it resolved that all future development within the area now defined as Colville Road consider the following: not cause safety concerns or exacerbate existing ones, contribute to traffic upgrades to increase safety and efficiency. I'll let this comment stand on their own. I have not seen any reference specifically about this road in the conditional use. As to walking and biking, big subject for anyone that knows me, for me personally, but I'll only briefly state, this is in and of itself a large topic too involved to discuss here, and I won't touch on that. It's not addressed in this proposal. Safety for pedestrians and cyclists on our roadways is a big topic with a long history. Without getting into the nitty-gritty, this proposal before us does absolutely nothing to address this issue and will only exacerbate the current situation with a very localized addition of 200 to 300 residents. In summary, this proposal is not suited to this location. As stated earlier, I and others from the community are not against development. But common sense and reasoning with regard to those who have history in the community cannot be ignored. We as a community have already thoroughly engaged in public consultation to help define guidelines for a path forward for Colville East. No need to revisit that process. It's been done. The well-documented guidelines established in the RM are a result of those consultations, follow due process and should be followed. This application for conditional use is going backwards, not forwards. It does not provide a transition between areas of different development intensity and scale, in particular by providing appropriate setbacks and stepping down of heights towards single-family areas. Just for reference again, the Harry Waychuk subdivision is farther down Colville Road. In my view, whether it's broadly accepted, it adheres to the accepted step-down approach to lot size for reasonable development. It came on board after all the deliberations going back to 2015. This proposed conditional use does not follow the logic and is considered and its considerations in any way. It's going backwards. And to summarize, as stated in the conditional use application that we're here to review today, St. Clements Council can only approve this application if it will be compatible with the general nature of the surrounding area. It will not negatively affect other properties or potential development in the surrounding area, and it is generally consistent with the applicable provisions of the development plan bylaw, the zoning bylaw, and any secondary plan bylaw. On this basis, I don't see any other reason other than it must be denied. And those are my thoughts. Thank you for letting me share them.
Thank you for that, Mr. Welp. Do any councillors have any questions for Mr. Welp? Okay, I'm going to keep going here. The next name I have on my list is Terry Harris. If you want to come forward, Terry.
I have to oblige with you a little bit here. I didn't bring no paperwork. I thought everything was going to be read out as per what's on there. So I'm borrowing his cell phone. Yeah, my name's Terry Harris. I live over at 988 Colville Road. I'm the third house on the north side of the street going into the village. I'm recently retired, 2 years. And I spend a lot of time outside in my yard, puttering around, doing yard work. I did not realize how bad the traffic was on this street. It's absolutely insane. The people that speed down through there is just mind-boggling. Anybody who disbelieves me or wants verification, come sit in my yard on a summer afternoon and just watch. It's absolutely insane. Okay, that's just my first topic. With our past presenter here, basically everything that I would have said or have said on my thing has been reiterated by him. And if I can find the last piece.
Which part did you want to read, Terry?
Okay.
Last paragraph, because I've got it on my screen here.
Yeah, basically, where it says,
In the past few days.
well, that one as well.
Okay.
Yeah, page 2, St. Clements recognizes the improvement managing growth away and serves long-term needs of the municipality. That means a focus on preserving the open, semi-rural character of St. Clements by ensuring new development comply with the density and design of the existing neighborhoods. That's it, bottom line. That line there says it all. Whatever development goes in there has to abide by the overall feel and character of the village. Not this, not what we're being presented with today. Myself and somebody else went around and we collected names and signatures on a petition. we went and we asked 71 people within the immediate area. That was on Colville Road, Frank Street, Strathcona. On Saturday in the pouring rain. This is how much we're involved in this. 71 people, 68 of them signed the petition opposed to this development. 69 out of 71 reverts to 96%. And that's just in this immediate area. If you want to go and canvass the rest of the village, I'm sure you're going to get 100% or thereabouts. The 3 people who didn't sign it weren't for it, they weren't against it, they just didn't have enough information to make a decision at that point. So I'm just giving you an idea here. 96% of the people we spoke to don't approve this in any way, shape, or form.
And Terry, just so you know, we all did get copies of the petition in our meeting packages.
Okay, yeah, the ones I presented were the hard copies,
Yes,
those were
and
the
we have
originals.
those, yeah, we have those
So
in
there
our
was no
package.
photocopy or any of that stuff going on. One thing I'd like to say, with the gentleman's presentation here, when this was sent out and I received it, all it had in it was a picture of the proposed development here. And when we looked, there was no other paperwork in there, there was no ask for replies, input, nothing.
No contact information.
No contact information at all. The only thing that was on there was a sticker on the front of the envelope saying Somerset Avenue or Street or whatever it was. Once we Googled it, it was a residential house
Very
in Winnipeg.
important.
So there was no contact, there was no asking or anything else. Okay, just want to clarify that. So, thank you very much for your time. Once again, everything else was said by the previous person.
Okay, thank you for that, Terry.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for Terry from council?
Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
Not for Terry, but can I ask the developer a question? Or wait till the
I think
end?
you have to wait.
At
till
the
after
end, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the next name I have is Mike Malena.
I have nothing further to add other than what I wrote to
Okay.
council today.
Yes, and council does have all those. Anybody who submitted a written letter of opposition, we have copies of those in our meeting packages, and that's why we're not reading all of them this evening. The planning board also has copies of them, and we have them in front of us. So if you have submitted your letter, it will be in our meeting package. So I'll mark you down as not wanting to speak, but your letter is with us.
Thank you.
The next name I have is Lucas and Dana Pidwerbeski.
No further.
Nothing further, okay. Jason Delaron and Kaylee Cooting.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, did you have anything that you wanted to add? You can come to the podium and speak if you so wish.
I don't have anything prepared.
That's okay.
I've never been to a meeting or anything, and I'm not really a public speaker. But I just, this guy said so well. Like, everything, I agree with so much. I moved here 5 years ago, started a family. My son goes to Hackensaw School here. I'm on Frank Street. Got married in my yard, and I love it here. But this proposal, comes down to, like, for me, lifestyle and safety are the two things that jump out at me why I'm opposed to this. I moved out here for a reason, for kind of a rural feel, right? I'm from I lived in Selkirk for a while, and I moved over here to get away from that dense kind of feel, right? And I hate to move again, but I might be young enough that I have one more move in me. My wife certainly won't want to stay, but I mean, we got married in that yard, and my son loves the school. So the lifestyle part, I mean, if you do pass this, at least give me some time to put the house up for sale, you know? The other part, the safety thing, I can almost see the school, I can hear the announcements, but I can't bring my kid to the playground here because Colville is so dangerous. I did it once on the bicycle, and there's no shoulder, there's no sidewalk, you're taking your life in your hands when you have a kid, right? So, someone's gonna get hurt. I think you gotta put a sidewalk there, or a shoulder or something. And address those things before you go ahead, well, go ahead with any development, like you're gonna move a house there, I think, you know? That's kinda all I'm gonna say.
Okay, thank you for that. Questions to the presenter, council?
Can there be just one comment, question from the floor?
I suppose I could let you do that, yes?
Small, just to support his statement. I live on 967 Colville, less than 5 minutes from the school. My kids are now contributing to my empty nest syndrome, and they were bused to school. The school would not let them walk that distance to school. That's all I have to add or support.
Thank you for that, Horace. Okay, the next name I have on my list is Todd Cook and Laura Cook. Anything you want to add at this point in time, Todd?
No, everything's been said already.
Okay.
We're totally against it. We've lived here for 23 years, and the safety on this road is our main concern, and it's another 150 houses is ridiculous. With 2 entrances only, we're against it.
Okay,
And
thank
we're
you.
directly facing it. It directly affects us and our property value.
Yes, I know where your house is, so, yeah. Okay, thank you for that. The next name I have is Marissa Meek.
I believe she wanted to come, but she couldn't get a babysitter.
Oh, okay. Trent Lays, or Lies. The next name I know, and I don't believe they're here either. Ardeen Stardew. Julie Essex.
She was on Zoom.
Yeah, on Zoom. Okay, is she on Zoom, Deepak? Julie Essex.
I saw her name up there.
Okay.
So,
Right
Ms.
there.
Essex, if you could, please unmute yourself and speak. I notice you've unmuted yourself, still can't hear you.
Would it help to get her on the phone? And speaker?
See if she can tell us in chat whether she's speaking.
Ms. Essex, if you're planning to speak, you could also send us a message on chat. We could come back to her, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going and we'll give her a couple minutes
Oh,
and,
and a message.
oh, okay, that's,
Microphone not working, but nothing further to add, she said.
okay. Okay, so she has had the opportunity to speak and she says she has nothing further to add. Okay, Terry, I have your name on here again. Was Susan gonna speak? Because I have Terry and Sue Harris.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Crystal Reschke and Wayne Solberg.
Yep.
Okay.
I live on 874 Colville Road, which is like pretty much right in the middle of East Soccer, with my partner Wayne Solberg. We live on a 2-acre lot, and like everybody said here, it's a nice country feel. Some days it's quiet, some days not so much with all the traffic. And I walk my dog every day. People probably see me, I walk a white dog. And there are times, I swear, people are passing me and their mirror is touching my jacket. Like they won't even, and the next lane could be wide open, and they're not even pulling over into that lane to pass me. It's like they're trying to kill me, and it scares the heck out of me, but I refuse to to stop walking, because I pay taxes here just like everybody else does, and I have a right to walk on the street, right? So anyways, that upsets me because I've had so many close calls already. Like, I feel like there's a man that walks with a stick, and I feel like walking with a stick. Well, that's you. And I feel like walking with a stick to give me my space, because people just are so disrespectful on the highway. So anyways, that's my big issue, is just it's so unsafe walking. It was so nice when the Blue Bridge was closed, because there was no traffic. And then, of course, water, you guys all know water was an issue this Saturday, and it was running right over Colville Road. Well, it could be higher with the new development. And my third issue was, yeah, just like sidewalks. Is there any talk of sidewalks coming? Like, I know it's probably impossible with all the, like, the houses so close to the highway and stuff, but we need a safe place to walk and just be outside. I don't want to have to start my car to go walk, you know, on the trail, on the Canada Trail or at the school. I want to walk right from my home, right? So, and so anyways, I was originally just coming here for information, and I am now against, and so is my partner. So that's it. That can be known on the record that we are both against the subdivision.
Okay, thank you for that, Crystal. And just so you know, this council has talked on many occasions about a sidewalk on Colville Road, but we have not been able to come to any solid conclusion as to where we could put the sidewalk and how it would affect the residents in the area. So it's not forgotten, but we're still working on it, I'll say it that way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Lisa Bermolson.
They've been talking about sidewalks here for 25 years. I've lived here for 40.
I got my phone here for my letter. I sent the letter in as well.
Yes, we have it here.
Okay, so I just thought I'd just kind of go over a few main points in that letter. So my house is directly across the street from this. So literally my front window is facing this view. I basically kind of have the same concerns as everybody else has said. The rural feel, right? I moved to East Selkirk because I didn't want to live in Selkirk. I didn't want to have neighbors right next to me. I'm a single mom, and I want to feel safe in my home, and I didn't feel safe living in Selkirk because of the population density, because of homes so close to each other. That's one of the big reasons I moved to East Selkirk. The property, right, the space, the quietness, the peacefulness is all appeal to me for living in East Selkirk. And if these apartments go across the street from me, I feel like I may no longer feel safe in my own home. Putting 200 plus people right across the street, that's going to affect me and my daughter greatly. My daughter's 13 now. Traffic is a big concern for me. So if you look at that view, you got two roads coming out from these apartments. My driveway is kind of on the right-hand side there, right in the middle of those two roads. So my mom drives my daughter to school for me every morning and picks her up. So she's driving during those high traffic times. If she's backing out of my driveway, she has to look not only both ways down Colville, she has to worry about traffic coming out of both of those entrances. Plus, Quarry Road is so close to that corner, she also has to worry about traffic turning onto Colville from Quarry. So she backs out of my driveway, she will have to look 5 different directions, right? I can't think of another place in East Selkirk where when you back out, you gotta look 5 different directions for vehicles coming out. it's, like everybody else said, right? Colville Road is a very busy street. Me and my daughter take our dog for walks, and we've had many times cars flying by us, and they don't move over. I can't imagine adding another area right on that corner with 200 plus people, right? How many cars is that? People going in and out constantly. It just, that to me is like more of a city feel, and that's not what East Selkirk is to me and my family. That's not the reason I moved out here. Biggest thing too, like, I'm gonna have that view out my front window. I don't want that view out my front window, right? It's quiet, peaceful, like we don't have any break-ins, no stuff getting stolen because people aren't around, right? If you put 200 people across the street from me, I think that's gonna be a bit of a different story as well. Light pollution, like, I moved here so I can see the night sky, see the stars at night, right? Enjoy nature. I love nature, being outdoors. You know, you add all these homes, all these lights are going to be shining in my house. When people are coming out of these driveways, their headlights are going to be shining in my living room constantly. It's, yeah. Noise too, right? I can be outside and it's peace and quiet, you hear the birds chirping and everything. You put 200 people across the street from me, noise is gonna go up a lot. I think that was kind of the gist of everything I had in my letter. My biggest concern is definitely the safety for myself, my daughter, and my family with the traffic. Just having 200 plus people living across the street from me, like, yeah. So,
Okay,
that's all I got.
thank you for that. Okay, the next name I have on my list is Clayton Grimmelson.
Hi.
Hi.
It's my daughter Lisa here, and she, I bought property in East Selkirk, just on Strathcona Road. I live close to my daughter, and I'm going to be retiring, and I thought this was going to be my retirement final place. So I want to move here, and I'm going to build a nice house, have a nice yard. We're going to fix Lisa's house up too, make it nice, and this is a big concern. It's very dangerous for my kids, my grandkids. They come to visit. Backing out of that driveway is something else. It's going to be worse. And there's also going to be, along with all the people that come here, these are probably, I'm not sure what they're going to do, but if they're short-term rentals, or people coming for 2 months, 3 months, who knows? Or is it leased? I don't know. They're going to have dirt bikes, snowmobiles, all the different things that go with family life, and it's going to be a big problem for us. So that's my, and along with what the other people have said here, I go along with it totally. I'm totally against it, and my daughter is too, and same with my family. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next name I have is Kim Orvis. Did you want to come forward and speak?
I didn't actually send a letter, so this is kind of coming up.
Okay.
A lot of it was covered by the people here already with the traffic concerns. I know myself right now, I live at 920 or 916, sorry, Colville Road. And I already have to make sure I turn around in my yard to drive out of my driveway instead of backing up because of the traffic. The place is like a raceway, especially on weekends or early mornings. But the other concerns I have is, especially with the condo, apartment, whatever those are, that is totally not in the feeling of East Selkirk. That, to me, is more city. Those belong in Selkirk. You know, they don't belong in East Selkirk. And the number of houses, too, on a 11-acre lot, that definitely doesn't belong in East Selkirk. I can understand that we all want more development, but at the same time, this is a village. Most people moved here to be in a village, not to be in the town or to be in the city. And I think that's one thing the council should keep in mind, that this is a village. And that's basically it.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Okay, I think the next two people I have are on Zoom. Is there anybody in the council chamber whose name I haven't called but wish to speak on this application? I know that I do have some on Zoom, but I thought I would let those in the council chamber speak first, and then I'll go to those that are on Zoom. If you want to just come forward and state your name for the record, please.
Good evening, Council. My name is Fraser Moss. We live on, this is my wife Christine, we live on Byers Drive, just north of the boot, on the post office there. We signed up initially as just wanting to get some information. I'd seen that earlier. I mean, it's been a while since I looked at it, but seeing just a little bit more detail now, I can categorically say we're against that. There isn't anything like that development that I'm aware of in this, you know, I know Waitec is, you know, like Mr. Wells said, I guess similar, but smaller in its scale. But I mean, it's, yeah, I'm quite frankly blown away by that. It's something insulted that, you know, somebody would bring that into our community, because, you know, that's city Winnipeg. You know, I agree with what everybody said. You know, that amazes me. You know, light pollution, you know, noise pollution, you know, the volume of traffic. You know, we're hemmed in with the river here, there's 2 bridges. The amount of traffic, you know, that would be accessed across from the school zone, you know, I can't imagine it would be very safe either. So, yeah, I mean, we're against it. Somebody knocked on our door Friday night. I can't remember the developer's name. There's a parcel of land, I think it's 8 acres, just north of the boot. You know, they want to put 17 houses on, you know, on 8 acres. So we'll be back for that. Again, I don't, you know, I'd just like to emphasize what Mr. Wells said. I don't think anybody, we're not, I won't speak for everybody else, but against development. We lived here 2 years, not very long, love the community, love the post office, the boot, driving over to Selkirk, love the feel, love the rural feel. Not against, I would love for people to come and share this and be part of the community, so certainly not against any development whatsoever. But that just seems like it would, it's hard to believe building that would not destroy that sense of rural community that I think everybody's talked about. So that's all. Thanks for letting me speak.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions, council? No?
Can I speak?
Yeah, if you wish to speak, I did ask, so if you want to come forward, you can be more than welcome to. Just state your name for the record for me, please.
My name is Phil Wildeman. I'm at 1021 Colville Road, the one right at the corner. I think myself and my neighbor Lisa have the greatest impact of this development. As you can tell, that driveway empties up right in front of my driveway. So, as always, as everyone else stated, is that the traffic between, let's say, school hours will be absolutely atrocious. I would not be able to exit my driveway during school hours if that neighborhood were to develop. Another thing to develop, that's also a double-line roadway as well for non-passing, so people will not, of course, will obey the double line going through that road as well that you can't cross because it's a no passing zone, but people cross it to make left-hand turns, that's a guarantee. the noise, the traffic on the weekends, the motorcycle clubs all going to the boot during the summer makes it another great problem that I see every summer. The municipality a couple of years ago asked me to remove a lot of trees, in which they graciously did, and because of the view coming out of Quarry Road by his residents, or people were complaining they weren't able to see around the S-curve to the other side, so they removed trees and shrubbery and all sorts of things from my yard and replanted, and that was a fair deal. But folks, East Selkirk is not a lifestyle area. You never develop any lifestyle, no walking trails, no green spaces, no nothing. So I can't see why a development like this can be allowed to occur. You don't have nothing. You have nothing for young families to feel safe and enjoy. No parks. Well, I guess if you can walk over to the park that's over here, around the school, this is probably the closest park. These things this can't happen. For me, it's going to impact me directly. Again, like my neighbor there, looking right out my front window. You know, high crime is another issue. You know, I'm sure a lot of us enjoy leaving our stuff out in the yards and feeling okay about it. But yeah, having that many people all of a sudden swarm your neighborhood, no, I'm for one truly against it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Questions to the presenter? Okay, I do have a couple of more names on my list, and then I am going to go to those that are on Zoom. And the first one I have on my list here, and I don't believe that she is in the audience, Sandra Slogan.
There is a Sandra's iPad.
Okay, it could be, on Zoom we have a Sandra's iPad. Is that Sandra's Slogan, please? If it is, please unmute yourself.
Sandra, if you can't speak on the iPad, you can always type in a chat. Sandra, are you able to hear me?
Okay, I do have one more name on my list here, and that is Jared Voigt. And I think there's a Jared on the Zoom. Voigt's iPhone, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And this is to do,
Okay.
this is to do with conditional use number 4 of 2022.
Yeah. So I'm a property neighbor, just 2 properties over to the east. The 16 acres there that is currently undeveloped. And so just wanted to comment on the plan. The 2 future access roads there going to the east and the west, I feel like they could be a little bit more centrally located. Be a little bit more convenient for future development of the adjoining properties. Having them so far to the north just feels like that would be a tough thing to tie in with future planning. So I would see that those would be maybe more centrally located on that lot towards the midpoint, not so far north.
Okay, so you're talking about the road, the east-west road at the north end of the property. Well, that's something that
that's it.
Yeah, that's something that we can't answer, but the applicant is still in the audience, and once we get through a couple more people here, the applicant will have an opportunity to close off the hearing, so he may have something to say at that point in time.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Sandra, is your audio working now? Okay. Yes.
you have anybody else on your list, but I had said that I didn't have anything further, but if you could add me back on the bottom of the list.
Yes, we sure can. You can come forward and just state your name for the record, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So my name is Anna, Lucas, and we actually live on a property where you have listed Colville Landing, including the areas where the roads, future adjacent roadways to future adjacent properties. Yeah, that kind of goes right through our property. So just kind of not on board 100% with a future roadway, nor are we on board with any sort of development because you can't really see it, but my house is right tiny in the corner there, with buildings basically diagrammed right up against it. But to move the roadway to future adjacent properties, I don't think further central to the property would be beneficial, but if anything further north, if this does for some reason go through. But those are my 2 cents there.
Okay, and I did call your name before, right, Dana?
Yes.
Hidwardbeski?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure that I have you the right name here, so.
That's
Okay, anything else you wanted to add?
no.
No? Okay, and you're in the White House right across kitty corner here, right?
Right across.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to try once more for Sandra's iPad. If you have something to say, if you could speak now, or else put your question in the chat. Okay, I do see 2 other names on Zoom, and there's a Ray and a Jay Porth. I believe that you are there for one of the other applications we have before us this evening. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I'm here for my variance application.
Okay, so that will be coming up very shortly. I think we're almost done with this one, so we will move on to yours when the time comes. And Ray, what about you? You're here for another application, not specifically this one?
Too high, because it's going to be a learning process throughout the year, but we realized pretty quick.
If he hasn't unmuted his microphone, he's representing me with Garage Masters for my variance.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Okay, now that I have gone through all the names on my list and those that were able to speak on Zoom, I'm going to ask one more time if there is anybody in the audience here in the council chamber who wishes to speak on this application. Come forward and state your name for the record, please.
Just because there's just a couple things that weren't brought up by other people. I did send a letter.
Yes, we have it here.
And I might touch on a couple of these points, but one thing I'm curious about is, I'm just going to affirm that when we got this letter, there was nothing saying who was doing it. Like, we were all asking each other, did this come from the municipality? Who's this from? Who's the developer? There's no number, there's no name of the company, and there was just that. Mine was, I think it was just self-addressed, and like you said, when we Googled the address, it was some little bungalow in Winnipeg somewhere, so it was like, is this just someone fishing to see who's open to it? But there was no way to oppose. So when they say nobody opposed or called and said, there was nowhere to call, and there was no option to call or who to call. So just want to clarify that.
Okay, thank you.
And also, on one of the papers that was sent out, it shows a little area at the front that says green space. And then somewhere in small writing it says, the green space may possibly in the future be used as a retention pond. So therefore it would not be green space, it would be a retention pond. And there can be big issues with retention ponds. I have a friend who lives in Winnipeg who, all last summer, and it was in the news, they had dead birds in their retention pond because people who were living nearby were using stuff on the grass that they're not supposed to use, and it's all going into retention pond and it's killing birds, and they were trying to do, you know, like, a green space and a retention pond are two totally different things. So is it a green space, or is it gonna be a retention pond, which could cause issues, mosquitoes, dead birds, things going in there. Anyway, that's not my biggest issue. It is the number of the homes and the fact that we moved here from after living in Winnipeg, living in Selkirk. The two of us have lived in both places and didn't want to live like that anymore. And we're brought here because of the country atmosphere, the village atmosphere, which we love. We love being here. Like, I love my home, love my yard. I walk my community sometimes twice a day, which again is very dangerous. I felt the same thing you see through the mirrors of the cars. Like, I literally have felt the wind of the car hitting my arm, and it's scary. And I understand certain times of the year you can't control what's going on the side, but especially in the winter, or when it's all mud on the side, there is nowhere to go, and I have to step into that when a car is coming, so it's scary. I ran a daycare in my home for many years, and trying to take kids to the playground, and when I see kids walking to school or biking to school, it is like heart-wrenching for me. When I see kids going on their bike down the road, I'm just like, oh my God, please get there safe, you know. And the thought of so many more cars. And rentals. I feel like rentals, how long are they rented for? Is it a year lease at a time? Like, my whole life, I had to live in dense areas and had to live in rentals. We worked hard to get to the point in our life where we had a home we could be proud of. We have put a lot of money trying to renovate our home. And the thought of that now affecting our property value that's our investment. Like, I understand people need to make money, the developer needs to make money. That's your investment. My investment is my home. So if the value of my investment is going to be brought down by this, I am against that. And we feel very safe where we are. And when you own your home and you've worked hard to own your home, you have pride in ownership. And you take care of your home. And you care about your neighbors. And that's a big issue for me. And it's a big part of what brought us here. And as I said, I love the community, I love the village atmosphere. That's what brought us here. That's what makes me want to stay here even longer. Our kids have all moved out. We have no intention of leaving. I finally have it all to myself. And we would like to stay here many more years. And as I said in my letter, I would love to see a development like that go across from us. I think it would be great to have more families nearby, great for my property value. No issues with development whatsoever. I just don't see the value for all the homes around us who have been here for so long. I don't see the value in that for us and our quality of life. And that's my issues.
Okay, thank you for that, Laura.
Thanks.
Okay, anybody else in the council chamber who wishes to speak that did not have an opportunity to at this point in time? I do not see anybody moving or any hands going up. I will ask one last time. Sandra's iPad, if you wanted to speak, can you please send us a note in the chat so you can have your say? And if we don't see anything in a few seconds, then I will continue on with our meeting this evening.
Nothing's going to let him in.
Okay. All right, as we have now heard from the applicant and all the others that are here to speak on this conditional use application, I would now ask the applicant if they would like to come forward and have anything more to say on their application and perhaps address some of the things or complaints that you heard this evening.
Thank you. Okay, firstly, a matter of concerns of safety, we can't really address anything that deals with current safety. This is a urban area speed limit on that road, and if it's currently unsafe due to the speed not being observed, then that's really an enforcement issue to calm the road down and get people to understand that the speed limit is the speed limit. With regards to our location of our and having two access points into the property, we had consulted both with council here and with highways about the suitability of the locations for the access points, and had no objections from highways in particular to that, and I think that was mostly based on the idea that this is an urban speed limit zone. We've provided for internal sidewalks and internal safety within the area. And once anybody gets to Colville Road, that's a municipal matter as to whether there is anything done to improve that road for safety and for pedestrians. I know that in the master planning for this as a subdivision, there is land dedicated towards the north. I suppose that is supposed to be for a public sidewalk that would go along the north property. So I see that's part of the established subdivision. They've allotted for a public reserve to the north side of that property. Our access points that we've shown towards the north side of the property, what we had done was had shown two ways that the property to the east could be subdivided if that owner was to subdivide or sell, and that was going to be developed as housing. And the proposal I put together on how the roads would link together works best with the current location that we have. Trying to locate any connecting roads in towards the middle of it, kind of created a very odd scenario in how the rest of the streets would work. And so my understanding is that the master plan for development is that all the lands to the east and to the west of this eventually would become some form of family housing in the future. We're just there to accommodate that they do, all of the individual subdivisions do interconnect. And there was a question?
Councillor Strang, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question, as everybody was speaking, was what kind of public consultation have you done with the community, with our residents here?
Well, at the time when we were making application and talking about it was that it wasn't really possible to do a public consultation in COVID times. That we had provided, we were asked to prepare information and provide information. We were given a mailing list of people within the area, and we sent out, I think, about 300 of our brochures to it. So that was, and there was an understanding that if anybody had contacted either the RM or Red River Planning District, and I had called both those entities asking if we got any response from them, is there anything I should answer? Do you have any emails, do you have anything that's come in? And they said no, they had nothing for us.
Because you didn't put information on there.
I had not put personal information there, contact information on there, because I was expecting that we would hear back from the RM or Red River Planning if there was any concerns to answer at that time.
Okay, thank you.
When you sent those, I guess flyers or letters out to the residents, were they just dropped at the post office, or you said you sent about 300 out?
They were sent out through the post office, yes.
About 300?
Yeah.
And did you specify what area you wanted them to go to? Because East Selkirk, if you take mail to the post office in East Selkirk has a large area that they look after, so.
We were given a mail list.
You were given a mail list?
Yeah.
Okay.
And out of that, I think I have about 25 or 30 that returned to us.
So are you saying that they were all individually addressed?
That's right.
Okay. Any other council members have questions? You also said that you left it up to the municipality and Red River Planning to relay the information to you. Had you arranged that previous? And I would like to ask our CAO, like, that is not up to the municipality, as far as I know, to relay the information to you. If you sent that out to 300 residents, there should have been information on your flyer as a contact person and a number to phone if you wanted more information on the proposal.
Right.
Like, that to me is not up to the municipality or to RRPD. We're not the developers, you are. So was there any arrangements on that regard?
There was no specific arrangements that we would be
No,
taking calls for the developer. I think what happened was that you didn't have any contact information. As my understanding is that we did receive some calls from some of the residents requesting what's this about, who's doing this development, and then we directed them to your phone number.
Okay, yeah, and I only got contacted by one person.
Nothing
There's
on
no
there,
contact.
nothing on there said, call your municipality.
Oh,
We didn't know.
let me be very clear. There was nothing on the paper for anything. Some individuals who saw the paper and said, is this something being sent by the municipality? What is this? We said it's a developer's proposal. Here's the contact information.
But
for
we
the
didn't know
developer.
we're supposed to guess that we're supposed to phone.
I agree. I'm not arguing with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the facts of what happened.
Yeah.
If I could just, I mean, you'll ask shortly, just a small comment. My observation at the time, I was at the post office with my wife and looked at our letters, and we had this document, and I don't recall any address on it. It was in my mailbox, that's what I recall.
It was
My
like
first
junk
thought
mail.
was, this has gotta be a joke, like, how does this end up in our mailbox? Who authorized the post office worker to do that? And in my view, I remember telling my wife, I said, this has gotta be a joke. Now, I'm not trying to inflame anything here, that's my recollection, and I'll stand by that. Why I'm here today is because I saw that little piece of paper, prior to the journal, and I don't actually get to read every week's journal. I saw that little piece of paper on my daily walk, that's why I'm here today.
So Madam Mayor, if I could clarify something.
I think the developer has something there. Did you want to add something
Well,
there?
what I say is everything was individually addressed, given the mail list
Okay.
that we had. There was nothing said, it was not dropped in at the post office to distribute to the area. They were all specifically addressed based off a mail list that was provided to us.
Right, but there was still no contact information on the flyer if somebody
No,
wanted to
yeah.
get a hold of you. Okay. Any other questions to the developer from members of council? Go ahead, Mr. Administrator, if you wish.
I just wanted to clarify, the application as you suggested when it was posted, that's not the proposal for this development application as it was posted, that's a developer's responsibility as per the Planning Act. They can also be required and requested to do further consultations in advance of the development application, and that was the intent. Unfortunately, there was some confusion, so I want to make sure that that's clear. This is the official application that was to do pre-consultation.
Yeah, we were only, I think me and others were just commenting on our impression at the time. Not all that's rhetoric in my view. The facts are as I stated, what's on file. That's what I'm here for. All this here is just rhetoric.
Okay, anything else from members of council? What is the wish of council on this application? Councillor Boulanger, go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I think maybe we should leave the public hearing open, but table our decision tonight so we can perhaps get further information from the developer, ask some more questions. Just not enough tonight right now to make a decision.
Okay, anybody else comments?
I concur with Councillor Boulanger.
I guess this is to the developer and to the residents. If we were, as a council, to ask you to do a public consultation, an in-person consultation, would you be willing to do that? And would the residents be willing to attend something like that? I'm going to ask both sides.
If you're looking at me, I saw eye contact.
No, I'm kind of trying to look at it.
I'm not a spokesman.
No, I realize that, Horace, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, if this is what we're looking at, somebody comes to my door, I have no further comments to add.
I agree.
Absolutely not.
We're opposed to this.
I don't think we really need to know any more than what we see on there and on those pieces of paper. And we're all totally against it. That's bottom line, straight there, straight up front. We're all opposed to this conditional use permit and what it represents up on that screen.
Yes. I would recommend that you go to residents that are in amongst that, what was it, 98%, Terry?
Yep.
Now it's just in a circle in close proximity.
Yeah.
I suggest that you go in the greater community, and I wish the developer all the best of luck.
Okay. Anybody else at the council table have anything to add? Okay, the suggestion has been made that we leave the public hearing open, and council does have some homework to do, because if council were to approve this application, there would be different conditions that would have to be placed on the developer. And after hearing everything that was said here tonight, I do not want this council to make a rash decision or a quick decision, because we have to make sure that if this does go forward, that we have the interests of the community at first hand. So I do not wish to rush into a decision tonight with conditions that may or may not be good for the community. I would sooner hold this over, leave the public hearing open. What we would do is, the next time we met, if there was any new information, we would hear that. We would not go through all the things that we spoke about this evening. And then council would have a better idea of what we would need in a development agreement to have this proposal go forward. Terry, you had your hand.
Yeah, if I can make a suggestion here. With regard to transparency, I believe we represent quite a few of the residents of the village of East Selkirk. Why not put it, if you're interested in finding out what the rest of the residents think, have a meeting of all the residents within the village of East Selkirk. Have it done once and for all. This is not acceptable. Done, then, finished. No permits, no conditional use. Simple as that. If you really want to do it, get the transparency out there. Let everybody know what's going on, and that they are sort of encouraged to go to a meeting. And this is what's being proposed. All in favour. All those against. Okay, have it done. Remember, we used to have those meetings when we first did the secondary meetings down at the hall, where we sat around in the little groups and discussed all sorts of things.
Right.
Yeah, you were there, I was there. Been here 40 years.
Been here for a
so
long
it's a long time. So, in the guise of transparency, let the whole village have a say as to what goes on here.
Okay, thank you for
Okay,
that, Terry.
thank you.
Kim, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify something, that if the developer did come to you with changes, and so forth. Would council then put this out again so we could see what these changes were and still be able to voice our opinion?
If there is a change, yes, that would happen. If there was a change by the developer.
Okay.
If it came back as it is today, there would be nothing further as far as public speaking to it, okay? To the developer, if we asked you to do some more consultation with the community, would you be willing to do that? Or do you feel that you have done your communication with the community on your proposal?
Well, I believe we need to have a discussion with council or with the RM further, given that we had presented and discussed this development with both council and with the planner. So if there was some changes to be made, then it would be, we'd like it directed by the planner.
Well, the question was if you would be willing to have consultation with the community, because they are the ones that are going to be affected by your proposal, and they may have some comments as to what they would like to see in your proposal.
Yes, I understand that.
He doesn't care about the community.
It would be, like I say, started off with the planner, as we dealt with the planner on what we proposed here, and what changes they would recommend, and then with the residents and consult further. I have an idea. I know what the objections are to this, and given what we're doing with the units out here, our only the solution we're really looking for here is really to maintain status quo on lot sizes, setbacks, and municipal standards.
So what about the money?
Okay, so what is the wish of council or Mr.
Madam Mayor, I just want to
Administrator?
clarify something since the applicant's brought this forward and he says that he's consulted with the council and that's what he's putting forward. I want to make it very, very clear here. The applicant came as a pre-application discussion with council saying, this is what we're looking at. Council instructed the applicant to do public consultations before a plan was brought forward. And council looked at the plan and said, if you need to share this with the community and then bring something forward. There was design requirements that happen with all developments, which means you have to meet municipal standards. There are zoning bylaws and other things which you're dealing with. So to say that that you've done your part, I just want to make it very clear here. That was requested. That public consultation, that letter doesn't constitute that from. But if you, what council is asking you today is, are you willing to do that public consultation?
I'll consult with my client on what direction they want to take. I can't answer what they would want me to do with this. I'm not the developer, I'm the applicant. So on that, I'll discuss that with my client on what he wants to do next with this.
Okay, Councillor Horvis, I believe you had your hand up.
Yeah, just to be further clear on what Deepak had said, that as a council, we sit here. If anybody in the municipality has something they want to bring forward to us, it's our jobs to look at it and decide. And as Mr. Josh had said, we had told him to do a public consultation with you all, and if you accept it, then that's fine, and then we move over. Makes our decision a lot easier. But if this is something nobody wants, then obviously there's a different decision that has to be made. But we can't not say if somebody has land at the back here or over there, if they come with a proposal, we have to look at it. So
Absolutely.
all fairness to everybody here and to
We understand
them
that.
today. So I just want to get that out there.
And I think most of us here are not opposed to that land being developed.
Yeah,
Just not in that way.
We hear that.
Yeah.
But we just so we all know that,
Yeah.
there's whatever. So, thank you.
If I can just quickly
Go
just
ahead,
paraphrase my earlier comments. The public consultation has occurred. It's history. There's recommendations, there's bylaws written with those findings entrenched in it. From what I can see from my vantage point, so to redredge all that hardly makes sense.
So again, please don't consider this as argumentative.
No, I'm not. And I'm not trying to be argumentative.
Let me be clear also on the facts. Public consultations did occur. Zoning bylaws, secondary plans were created. You have an interpretation, but there's a professionals at Red River Planning who apply that interpretation of those rules and regulations that were written. And this report that has been submitted by Red River Planning says it does comply. So I appreciate your interpretation, but please, and you have your right to your interpretation, but so does the professional planner as the advisor to council. So I just want to make sure that that's clear.
Yeah, I understand.
Can I make a comment, please?
Yeah, and I'll, once again, not being argumentative with you at all, but the people that put their input into the consultation so as the professional could write this up as a secondary plan, okay? We're the ones who put that information to that paper. The way it's interpreted by the planning board is not necessarily the way the community passed it over to have it written up. If you understand where I'm coming from.
I understand
Okay?
that you can have, I understand that you can have.
So it's not our
perception.
interpretation of it, it's the way it was brought to council and written up, and then somebody else takes it away and interprets it in a totally different manner. That's, to me, that doesn't work. It's what we decided as a community that we wanted, not for somebody else to take it away and interpret it in a legalese, blah, 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 so as nobody else could understand it. All right? We're common people here, you know?
I'm not arguing on any of those aspects. I
Right,
just
so,
say there are
no,
perceptions.
so I just want you to understand where the community is coming from as well. We see it the way we wrote it down, or it was written down, and that's what we understand.
And that's when we had the consultation for the secondary plan.
Absolutely, and over across the road here at the baseball diamond.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, thanks for that, Terry.
okay.
Crystal, did
Thank
you
you.
have your hand up?
I'm just wondering if we will all be notified with the next step? Or what, like,
Everybody that was registered, everybody that showed up here will be notified when the meeting is being rescheduled. If the developer chooses to have some further consultations with the community as a whole or with individuals, you'll be notified directly by the developer.
okay, good enough.
But it won't be open to a broader audience than just the people that are here?
The meeting is always open, but the individuals that attended this meeting today and the ones that are registered will be notified of the next meeting directly.
So it would be up to
And
us
the
to
others-
notify other people if we would have to take that on to notify others in the community.
Well, I think there's two things here, Laura. I think one is we're talking about when this comes back to council, and the other is if the developer chooses to have further public consultation with a wider group. If the developer chooses to have wider consultation with a larger group, that would be up to him.
Right.
As our CAO was saying, when it comes back to council for a decision, those that have registered and those that are sitting in this room tonight will all be notified through planning that it is coming back to council. So there's kind of two things. If it's just coming back to council, planning will notify you. If the
Right.
developer chooses to have further public consultation, they'll be getting a hold of everybody.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, that leads me to my next question. So if there's more naysayers, they still have an opportunity to sign the petition?
Not
Or to show up
unless
at
something
council. Or to show-
changes with the proposal.
Okay.
If the developer comes back and chooses to do a different proposal, then yes, there would be that opportunity because it would be almost like a new application. If the same thing comes forward for council to make a decision on, there would be no new information. Kim, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, if it comes back, will you still be posting this information on the website and on your Facebook page? So that people who didn't know about it this round could find out about it next round?
Yes, probably.
All our applications are posted on the website.
Yeah.
So, but it would be reposted on the website, so people
Yeah,
could
but
still
again, it
access
would be just, if there is no change in the application, there
Right.
is nobody else allowed to speak because it's the same application. If the developer proposes a new application, and let's just say, for example, he cuts down the number of houses, then yes, that's a new proposal, and we would have to accept other comments from other people. But if it comes back exactly the same, there would be just you who are in the room tonight and those that were on Zoom that would be sent a letter that it was coming back to council.
Madam Mayor, might I suggest that Santan could maybe clarify everything since
Yeah,
Hunter's here.
I was going to ask him that question, but I see one more hand. Laura, was that your hand went up?
Yeah, like you say, changing the amount, but also like to take into consideration changing to houses, like homes, not rentals, not not so many, and houses. And I'm curious to know, is this the same developer that was originally gonna do the thing here with apartments, with houses at the back and apartments on the street, and nobody wanted multi-dwelling apartments on the street, and said, why can't you put them at the back? So here I see this, all the apartments at the back. Well, you've changed from houses, which we were like, sure, houses, like homes on lots, and apartments at the back. And I think everybody was kind of like, okay, but move them to the back, not right on the street. And suddenly they're at the back, and we have 124 like duplexes in front of that, which was not. So if it's the same developer, you knew that people were opposed and that was a concern of the community. And it's kind of like you came back and went, yeah, you didn't like that? Look what we can put there now. Like,
Well, he's tripled it in size is what he's done.
yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the same developer. The
Same guy owns the land.
landowner may be the same, but I am not sure that it's the same developer because this gentleman said he's acting on behalf of the developer. So
I just don't know why they wouldn't have taken that into account when they knew how opposed
yeah.
like, why not go with what people were saying to go with? There doesn't seem to be any type of compromise there.
Okay, I'm going to ask the planner if he has anything further to add, and just for some clarity, what was it that you had mentioned, Deepak?
Just on the process itself, I'm notifying everyone just so that Santan can make sure that what we clarified is actually what planning will do. I just don't want to speak for planning.
Thank you for that. Santan, did you catch all that? Just for some clarification, if we have relayed the proper information to the residents in the council chamber here this evening?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. If there is an amendment to the application, we would have to re-advertise everything, and everything will be posted on our website, and everybody would get mail out at least 2 weeks before the scheduled hearing. And if there is no changes, then we can notify the people who attended today. So the information you relayed is correct.
Okay, thank you for that, Santan. Any other comments or questions from council? Go ahead, Councilor Bazarovich.
Did we hear anything from highways about this, like as far as, okay, like I'm just wondering if things changed, like that was part of the problem here, or the concerns that traffic flow, like if highways was to come back and change the road, put in traffic lights or roundabout or whatever else, would that start a new hearing or?
I believe, and I'm going to pass it over to Deepak, I believe
Well,
that
Santan can speak to it
Yeah.
more. This was circulated to the province and Manitoba Highways, who's responsible for Colville as well, did comment and express no concerns.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Santan.
Thank you for the question, sir. Yes, we did send it to Highways. They did not object to the proposal, but they did make a comment about responsibility of maintenance of the highway for construction along it. And then they gave us a number of a development technical service engineer and encouraged the developer to make contact with them to determine any changes that will affect the provincial road.
Okay, thank you for that, Santan.
If I could just,
This gentleman had his
Oh,
hand
sorry,
up
sorry,
first,
sorry.
Horace.
So to clarify, the province didn't have an issue with the amount of traffic, but it does have a problem with the amount of traffic that might cause wear and tear to the road. Am I understanding that right?
I'm just having a quick read
That
of the letter here.
doesn't seem to make sense to me. If that's correct.
Provincial Highways took a look at it and they didn't have a problem with the amount of traffic at this point. I think they've asked the applicant to determine, they commented on that they're responsible for the maintenance and anything, any changes, they want to be notified. But I think the bottom line is, I don't think, and Santan, correct me if I'm wrong, that the provincial highways had said that they didn't have a problem with the development and the impact on traffic.
That is correct, sir. Yeah.
So traffic, but, sorry, I thought that was.
These are traffic engineers at the province of Manitoba
Yeah.
who review every development application. As part of that development application, they take a look at it and then they say, will it have an impact on our roads? Just like St. Peter's Road is a provincial highway as well. And so any development that happens on St. Peter's Road, they look at it and they say, is this going to have an impact or not? And whether they want any additional traffic measures to be put in place.
Well, they're worried about damage to the roads, right?
Well, no, they're
No.
worried about traffic, access, all of those things.
Was a study done, like when they said the traffic study was gonna be done, was that ever done, like with that curve?
There
and
was a
everything?
study done as part of the curve in 2018. And, but it was dealing with the development of the Waychuck subdivision.
Right.
Mainly. And it was looking at it at full build out. And it was also not recommending any major, outside of looking at some better use of quarry and, what are we calling this one? It's, pardon?
Rink Road.
Rink Road. I don't think it's really officially named, that's why I asked the question. And so this was to maybe turn those into one-ways. They looked at some options of roundabouts and those things that were maybe possibly traffic calming devices that could be used.
So that was more that development coming on to go, that wasn't like.
No, it was just generally looking at the overall. It was a traffic
Yeah.
study and took a look at where the traffic was coming from, the east or the west of Colville and how it was impacting in this area, and it was looking at that specifically. And so it did identify some things that in the future, and then it's a matter of when they need to be done. And I won't get much more, I won't make how it gets done.
So, further to this, there was reference made in one of the documents that I had mentioned there, that there was going to be a study on traffic flow, safety, and I forget the exact wording. Now, in my professional life, study means some supporting documents, public history. There has to be a document there. You're referring to a 2018 study, and I looked high and low. I didn't see any reference to that at all. So I don't know whether
Just because
what the planning board is referring to is something that occurred over a phone call or over a beer. I'm not sure, but there has to be a black and white record for the public to see in this case.
A traffic engineer study was done that was written by professional engineers that are traffic engineers.
In reference
just because looking at the traffic on Colville in 2018. Studies get done by municipalities all the time that get hired. That doesn't mean every study is made available because they can become stale depending on the information and what they were dealing with. But you asked the question, was there a study done? And my answer to you is that in 2018, the study was done.
So given the significance of that issue in the greater context of Colville East, I would expect at the very least we would have a link to that study or have access to it. At the very least, because this is the top 3 issue.
Yeah, we can certainly have a look at it. I'll have that discussion with council.
Okay, I really appreciate that.
I've never seen any traffic counter or anything. So what were they just hanging around on a Saturday or a weekend? Because, like, there must have been some kind of impact, because the traffic I see is unbelievable, especially during school and business hours.
I can't speak to the time. In 2018, I wasn't here.
Oh.
Okay, but I can tell you that a traffic study was done by professional engineers who did traffic counts. How they did those counts.
Let's see that reapply.
It cannot be.
Some effort.
Okay, I think we've had a lot of discussion on this application today, so I think I'm going to close it off. I think everybody has had an opportunity to speak, and I would ask now that, because we are going to adjourn the public hearing, I would like a resolution to adjourn it and then to move on to our next application.
Adjourn or close?
Adjourn.
Adjourn.
And are we putting in a date to bring back? Or are we doing it to future?
Next meeting of council.
I would do 2, just in case there's some public consultation, or how would you like to handle that?
We could bring it back for the next meeting of
Okay.
council, and if they requested an extension, we could accommodate at that meeting.
Okay, so we will bring it back for the next council meet, the next planning meeting, which would be on May the 24th.
Resolve the public hearing for conditional use for 2022 be adjourned and brought back to the May 24th, 2022 council meeting.
Moved by Councillor Boulanger, second Councillor Bazarowicz. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, I'm going to take a 2-minute break so that if those that want to leave can leave, and we won't be interrupting each other.
It'll all be nice and quiet from now on in.
Pardon?
I said it'll all be nice and quiet from now on in. Good relief.
Thank you.
You weren't loud at all.
Oh, you're very welcome.
No.
Very cordial meeting.
Oh, absolutely. Only way to be. Thanks for your time.
Okay, we'll see you.
Yep.